I'm Mari Johnson, and I travel because the world is just too beautiful not to. It's called Peak Hill, and it's a walk that I've wanted to do for a while. So I'm pretty excited. It's supposed to have some nice views, and hopefully we're going to get a good sunset. Fingers crossed. I'm Mari Johnson, and I'm a travel vlogger. Yeah, when I was young, I really liked arts and crafts, doing all kinds of art. I used to love the computer program KidPix, if anyone else ever used that. I loved that, just doing a lot of like weird kind of, I guess, graphic design stuff before I even knew what that was. And then, yeah, my family really liked going on hikes. So on weekends, we would typically go on hikes and have picnics, and that's still something I love to do today. I think, yeah, travel was always encouraged in my family. My dad, when he was 17, he did a huge motorcycle trip by himself around Europe and Northern Africa. And I grew up hearing this story, and I was like, whoa, that's amazing. Well, I grew up just north of San Francisco, and when I was about 12, I think, my parents showed me how to take the ferry across the water into San Francisco. And so then my friends and I started doing that on our own, and I feel like that was one of the first things that I was like, oh, this is so exciting. There's a huge world out there, and I can just get on some public transportation and get to a whole new spot and see all this new stuff. And I thought that was just so exciting. So that's, yeah, that sense of adventure, I think, kind of has carried through. The ways that travel has changed me, well, especially solo travel, it's just made me feel more independent, and just meeting all kinds of people from all around the world and seeing other cultures and seeing how other people live, I think has just opened my mind to so much more, and it's made me a much more understanding person and just more compassionate. And I think travel, especially the hard budget travel where you have to put yourself through a lot to get places, has just made me much more easygoing. I think I was pretty easygoing before, but I really try not to sweat the small stuff, like, you know, just the little things that day-to-day life you think are really annoying. Actually, when you put it into a bigger perspective of the world, most of the things aren't that big of an issue. So I think it's just made me see the world from a bigger perspective, and yeah. Woohoo! Made it to the top.
What do you think?
What?
What do you think?
Oh, it's beautiful. 360 views. Can't complain. So good. Ooh. Like, no, I'm just gonna made it to the top. Look at these views. Yeah, from the beginning, what I wanted my YouTube channel to be about was travel, just because it was going to be more about tips and mostly language tutorials. I just thought, yeah, because there was when I was traveling in Thailand, I was like, oh, I'd like to be able to watch a good YouTube video about how to pronounce things, and then I couldn't find any, so I was like, oh, I'll just make them. That's kind of how it started. So I knew it was always going to be about travel, but when I first started, I was living in New York, and New York is just a place where it's pretty inspiring. So I started vlogging just things I was doing around New York. And I guess just a way to kind of get a feel for it. But I always knew I wanted to do more travel and go on like a big travel adventure for a long period of time. So I was kind of working up towards that goal. One of the main reasons why I make these YouTube videos is just to help inspire other people to travel. That's really, at this point, my main motivation. It's just helping people to get out there and see the world, because I think it's just, once you see the world and step outside of your comfort zone, there's so much understanding of other people, and I think it helps in just your day-to-day interactions with people who might be different from you. You might be able to see things a little bit differently and maybe try to see things from their perspective, especially because when you travel, usually you're putting yourself, you become the outsider wherever you're going, and you can see really quickly how people treat you as an outsider, and I think just bring that experience back with you to your everyday life. And I think if everyone traveled more and learned more about other cultures, it would just be a little bit of a happier world. And I think as long as you keep your mind open to new experiences and the good in people, then good things will happen. And yeah.